Everybody, welcome to the live. Here we are, right in your living room or wherever, maybe poolside. That'd be probably better, more appropriate for summer. But I'm here with Alicia from
Everybody, welcome
MsLeading
to the
Evidence.
live.
So good to see you, Alicia.
Hi, I had to turn down my volume.
So yeah, what's up? You were talking about kind of a crazy night over there in your neck of the woods. What's going on?
Yeah, well, happy 4th, happy birthday, America. Um, there was really close fireworks. My cat did not like it. They went on until after midnight. It was probably 12:30 when we finally got to sleep. And then at 2:30 I woke up and there was lights flashing through my windows. So I get up, my whole street's full of fire trucks.
Oh my
I
God.
Yeah, it's dark outside. I go out on my porch. I look, I don't see anything. But this morning I went out and the whole back corner, now nobody's in this house, but the whole back corner, I don't know if it's the whole back side. All I can see is the back corner is totally black. It caught on fire.
Oh
The
man.
truck in the driveway, the windshield's blown out. I'm not sure if people were playing back there.
Yeah,
It
I was wondering, is it firework related?
probably, I would say, because that house is, um, there's nobody that lives there.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm wondering if people snuck in the backyard. I'm wondering if it was my neighbor.
Oh
So
yeah.
so that was happening and what's crazy is those 2 hours we didn't wake up. So we didn't hear the fire trucks. We didn't hear anything and I'm like, well, that's lovely. I could have easily caught my house on fire and that's the two
Right?
hours of
That's
sleep I got.
scary. Oh my gosh. My night or our night was really the complete opposite of that. We ate dinner and the weather was kind of crummy, so we weren't able to do what we planned to do. And then we were in and then all of a sudden it was just like she went to bed early. I worked a little bit and then went to bed, and we could hear the fireworks going off in the background. They do a pretty good display here in the small town, but usually I would go if my grandkids were here. I would go and watch them. But as the kids grow up, I'm not as enamored by
Yeah.
fireworks as I used to be. But
Yeah.
it's nice having the little ones to
Yeah.
see their expressions. That's what I like about it. But yeah, happy birthday, America,
Yeah.
250. That's crazy. Because I
Yeah. And
remember the
right before,
200th, so I'm getting old.
yeah. Oh, gosh. Right before that, around 9, we got a real short, hard storm, and I was like, "Oh, this is nice." But then went away, and yeah,
That's good. Yeah,
yeah.
it was spotty like that here. All right, we got Donna Lembo's first on the list, but I did see Jethro in there. I know he was in there. So I'm going to say I vouch for Jethro, but I remember seeing somebody else in there too. There were a couple of people because Jethro said, "Oh, your name's going to
I
get
was in there.
erased after a few days," and it did. And I don't know why it does that. I should just see if I can have him leave it, but I don't know if that's even an option for me. But we got Kamala Kase is here, excellent, and there's Jethro, NL Paranormal, Amanda, good to see you. She's bringing some apples again. That's nice of you or share the apples, of course, with everybody else. And Donna Lembo's in the house. She's the moderator here today, and she's the captain of the Mayhem Squad, and she doesn't put up with any BS. So we got Donna taking care of business. She's cooking dinner over there, so she's multitasking for sure. She's on it though. She is on it. So I'm going through who is here early to make sure that I say hello and thank them for being here early, and we're going to get right into business here very quickly. Batshit Crazy is in the house. Excellent. And Debbie Crosno, one of the official Murder Metal Mayhem nurses that's available. should there be some sort of first aid situation that we can handle via the chat here. So we'll do our best. But good to see Debbie's in the house. And there's the other one. Wow, speak of the devil, GT. Good to see you. And yes, you're the other nurse here, official. So two of you, I thank you both very much. Carolyn Simpson's been around here. That's good to see you, Carolyn. Very good. She says, every time I try to say this gets erased, witness protection. Yeah, I don't know. People say comments get erased and that sort of thing. Sometimes it's YouTube. So, all right. Carl Thomas. I'm glad to see Carl is here. However, if I get into this, I'm going to end up dissuading because Carl's comments are the best. So I'm going to star this one, and we're going to get to that, but we'll get to that later, Carl, because I love your comments, but I know we got to get to business. So, but thank you, Carl, for being here. Thank you, Carl. Eleanor Sabins and Jody Lee, excellent Jody, and Teresa, and CR528 from Michigan, awesome, very cool. Very cool. Leslie Hilton, good to see you. All right. I'm just saying thank you, all you guys, for being here early. So, all right. So we have a full plate. We sure do. But want to thank Alicia for coming from MsLeading Evidence. These lives, I limit them to 90 minutes. So your time is valuable. So is ours. So we get down to it, but I like to start it out with a little friendly hello. But all Idaho for today just seems to be a steady stream of new stuff to discuss, Alicia. I mean, this case seems like it never will end, but I know sometimes you can get caught in a loop of like a rut with it as well. I know we were talking about that before the show, but what do you think about the current things going on and some of the latest with the case?
You guys, I took a break for a minute from everything. Sometimes you have to step back and do that.
Right.
We were kind of talking about this. I wanted to test something, and so I made a little video, and it didn't get very many views, but if it does get some views, I want to give my book away. But I just had to step back because it all started sounding repetitive. You go to 5 different channels and everybody's talking about the same thing.
Right.
So, and it helped. But then I saw your video yesterday, and that made more sense to me than anything I've watched. And I think you're onto something.
Yeah, I mean
So,
that commenter, the local person, was kind of sent via this viewer, so it's kind of a secondhand, situation. However, that viewer has posted that story to other chats because I think that person just really wanted to get it out there. And I thought it was worth commenting on because I didn't agree with everything in there, but a lot of it I thought was very feasible. And so
yeah,
we're going to talk about that
yeah.
here coming up. I know a lot of people maybe are here because of that video. So if you're here, you're new, welcome. But we're going to talk about it. And if you don't know what we're talking about, it's pretty interesting. And it has to do with Dylan and maybe being a little above and beyond what we've thought before as just a theory, of course. And we're going to talk about Nicholas Mowich. I know that's been a person out there for a while. And I've never really talked much about him, but the more I've thought about it, I've always thought there could be some sort of hybrid between the frats and the gang, or dealers, or whatever you want to call them. And so there's no reason why he couldn't have been involved in that scenario. And so we're going to talk about that, kind of that hybrid idea versus one or the other. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the most realistic of the ideas. But then the concern or question is, was he the fifth victim that we heard about? Because remember that first broadcast from the scene,
Mm-hmm.
it said there was 4 dead and 1 wounded going to the hospital. Oh,
Yeah.
that was it. It wasn't say how he got to the hospital or how they got to the hospital or whatever. It just said the victim was, wounded and went to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's always been a mystery, because that got scrubbed. I mean, you can't find it anymore.
Yeah.
So that's pretty messed up. But the person that did that, of course, is said even today that she's still behind what she said, and that's interesting. So we'll talk a little bit about that with Nicholas Mowich. It's an interesting question. So,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be giving away 5 free memberships in the live. We're going to do that later. So make sure your settings are set to accept gifts, because then this way you can get it. It's totally random. We have nothing to do with who gets picked. It's just totally random on YouTube. And I believe the more you're in the chat, it helps your odds, is what I've been told. But that's just what I think. I heard that from Harsh or somebody like that. And if you're in the chat and you want to get involved in what we're saying, we're going to do our best to get to as many of you as we can, but we've got a lot to discuss. So we're going to do the best we can to get as many people involved, because I think that's what makes the lives good here, is the interaction. And I'd like to keep that, but just be patient. All right. We're expecting a good crowd. So, I'd like to make sure, we keep that in mind. If you're interested in merch, I've got it. It's in the links in the description. So if you want to get any of the merch, there's a sale going on this weekend, 30% off. I believe it ends at midnight, but that's a really good deal there. So if you're interested, it's there. And I want to thank all the members, the Horns High Club and the Mayhem Squad, for your support, and Donna for being the moderator and the captain and just being awesome. So we appreciate it very much. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. And I thank you for that if you're doing that for the first time. So with that, Alicia, we got this discussion about the video I did yesterday, and I know you said you really liked it and really thought that there was a lot of credibility to it, even though we don't know. This is just speculation, and we're talking about everything being alleged because we don't know. But of the theories that I've heard, and you said it, you as well, this to me makes the most damn sense.
It does. Yeah.
It really does, because I had been, when I've watched like or listened to, I should say, the Gooch interview that Dylan did from her house in Boise. And that one was a lot different than the one in Moscow PD to me. And she seemed like she was not, like playing the Columbo role. And I know anybody that's young is like, who the hell's Columbo? He was a detective that made you think he didn't know what he was doing, but he was really smart. And he outsmarted people because they took it, they took him for a dummy, and he wasn't. And that's what I wonder in this case. I mean, I know she comes off as that in maybe an Academy Award performance if it's not, but I honestly had started to really have questions of, I really think she's a lot smarter than we've given her credit for. What do you think?
Uh, yeah, I watch a lot of documentaries. Um, And it's amazing to me how many serial killers were slow. And I'm not saying this is Dylan. I'm just saying how they had trouble in school, how they didn't really connect with people, but they were smart enough to go on for years and hide bodies and all this stuff and get away, live another life. So you don't have to necessarily be intellectual and to also be smart. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I think I think in a manipulative, conniving way, you're a different kind of smart. So
Yes. Yeah, that's a good point because that's what's in play here is what this person's implying. Again, this is from a local who one of my viewers saw and sent, or shared on our comments, and that's how this whole thing started. So that's where we're coming from with this discussion about the this person online, and saying that you know Dylan made up the what this person's saying is that Dylan was the one kind of the mastermind of this part of the scenario, because I don't think she was the mastermind of the entire thing, because I think you're talking about something more obviously beyond what she could do. I'm talking like whoever's putting the money together, the dealer, whoever's behind that, and I'm assuming it's
mhm,
a gang. Um, and we've talked about different, Aryan Knights and some of these other groups. I don't
mhm,
know who it was, but we hear a lot about the Aryan Knights here, and
yeah,
I've kind of stayed away from that because I didn't want to get involved in that situation. But we're starting to see some things starting to make sense, with
mhm,
that. So I think that to believe that the frats could have pulled this off by themselves. Maybe they could have done the crime, but I don't know if they could have pulled off what it became.
yeah,
And I think that's what's interesting here because you got law enforcement kind of getting involved maybe after to help make it look like it was something different than it was. So it's kind of crazy to think that you talk about corruption on that many levels, but this area is notorious for this. I get
yeah,
emails all the time from people that used to live down there that
mm,
moved to like CDA, or Coeur d'Alene or
mhm.
Boise or what have you, and they're like, those people are that's the most corrupt, like messed up place. Like you don't want to be there. It's just bad.
Yeah. Usually, when there's corruption, it's not just a single layer. I mean, it ripples. So, uh,
Hmm.
you know,
And when you're
if
talking about the money that would be generated from selling party
mhm,
favors on a college campus, I mean, for God's sakes,
yeah,
that's like a money machine. And so there's all kinds of money that could have been given to people. I mean, that's how it all works. That's politics. And that's
mhm,
been notorious over there. So it does not surprise me that something like this over time could have just really permeated the highest levels. I mean, it's crazy to think of it, but what else could be controlling this to the degree that it's been controlled? I mean, this is
mhm,
unbelievable that they were still redacting stuff after they got somebody behind bars for
yeah.
3 lifetimes or 4 lifetimes. He's in their eyes the case is closed. So okay, let's see it. What the hell are you holding back? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Other
And
than
it,
the victims, like the gory stuff, I get that. That's cool. But what about all the rest of it? You
mhm.
know, I want to see it.
Yeah,
And
and
so does everybody else. It's just ridiculous.
watching watching true crime stuff with um, like 15, 16 year old, they aren't blurred.
Right.
So, I mean, they committed a serious crime, and they, they're spending the rest of their life in jail.
Yeah.
They
What
don't
was
get
that one
blurred.
you mentioned? That kid.
I'm Aiden Fucci.
Yeah, that dude. Right.
Yeah, they didn't blur his interrogation. Even when before the mom knew and the mom was standing
Mm-hmm.
there,
Mm-hmm.
we got all of it.
Yeah,
So,
that's true. I mean, I watched it too. That was a fascinating one.
yeah.
So, this whoever's behind this whole thing has got to be to the level of scaring the living crap out of everybody that lives there. So, that's where I think the frat part of
That
it
would mean
loses.
people don't want to talk. I mean, that's the only thing I can think that would keep people from talking.
What's that?
Them knowing it's almost like if you talk against the cartel to,
Right.
let people kind of picture something, you're not going
Mm-hmm.
to do it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Right.
unless you want to think, be looking over your shoulder the whole time. So,
Exactly. And,
yeah.
I think when we're talking about cartel, gang, I mean, they're all intertwined.
Hmm.
There's got to be somebody at the end of it all that's making the most money, and it trickles down.
Yeah.
So, whatever level we're talking about here, I don't want to get into the weeds by talking about that part of it only because, there's just so many, well, what if this, what if that
Hmm.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think in this case, it's got to be something that would scare the living heck out of everybody to not even think about talking because they know
Right.
what's going to happen. What you saw on King Road is what's going to happen.
It's
And
almost like it reminds me the people in NASA have their own little sections and they're not allowed to talk. But
oh,
if they
right,
did talk, they don't know enough of the big picture to, you know what I mean? They'll just get
hmm,
themselves in trouble.
right.
So
That's a
I
good
feel
point.
like this is the same thing.
Right. Yeah,
Each
that's a good
person
point.
knows just a little bit, and if they talk, it's going to bring all the attention on them, not on the people that need the attention. Yeah.
Right. No, yeah, that's right. That's right. So it definitely would have to be somebody very intimidating. And Dylan has ties to the Aryan Knights with her
Hmm.
boyfriend Quinn and his dad, who's an ex-con that supposedly, allegedly has ties to that same, group. And we've been told again, allegedly that Dylan's dad, who did serve time in prison,
Oh, yeah.
also had some affiliation with that. Now I don't know that, but that's been rumored. So you've just got a lot, with the rumors. I mean, the thing is, you can't dispel everything because sometimes there's some truth in it, but it might be twisted to, whatever the person that wanted to start it wanted, where it wanted it to go. But there's something in there that's real. And that's what I'm trying to do here is to parse through some of it to try to find what makes sense and fit it
Mhm.
together. Because not all of it, I don't think, is obviously the truth. That we're just getting
Right.
rumors, but
Yeah.
some of these rumors have come true. And
Hmm.
that's what we're saying. With as things start to you peel the onion, you figure out, oh, okay, this goes here, and so you know, could she have lied about doing that? Um, about something being flushed or something to that effect, as the commenter said, blaming Kaylee and Maddie for it. We've heard that that was something that happened, right? That
Hmm.
somebody there did that. But what if it was that rumor that Dylan started? Is what we've heard. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Did we hear about it through that, or did we hear about it from, somebody that actually was there, and
Yeah.
I think Dylan's version of it, I think, is what's kind of made it to everybody's head, right out of the
Hmm.
box.
Yeah. Yeah, because
And
that's what they
that's
went
messed
off
up.
of right away. The police officers that showed up were
Right.
saying, oh, one of the roommates said this is what happened. And
Hmm.
that's the story they went with.
Yeah. I mean, they
No
followed it like,
questions.
yeah, no, exactly. No questions. And if that's what, they heard, let's say the people supplying the product heard that, and they're going to be most likely either part of or answering to this, very, very aggressive, intimidating force, then people are going to get pissed. And that's going to get something going down like what happened here. And I think, the commenter talks about that Dylan, maybe thought it was more of a shakedown
Hmm.
situation as compared to what happened. I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense of her role. Um, that she thought they were just going to get scared, shut down,
Hmm.
whatever else, but it did go too far. And that
Right.
makes the most sense because I can't picture anything that makes sense why two people here and two people here, even if it is at two different times, we're still talking, in the same 3-4 hours maybe that they could have done it that night,
Right.
which is still really close, really close if it was two different instances. So, yeah, just it went too far. Makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, it does to me too. I think that it does seem more within the realm of possibility that she wasn't intending for anybody to be, murdered. It just got too far.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe she just wanted to scare the living crap out of him, get roughed up type of thing, but that would be it. And then it just went south. Maybe she didn't intend for that to happen, or as I pointed out in my video, maybe she did. We don't know. But what if she didn't, and then the people that did what they did to, the the attackers there that night went ahead and took out four of them? And that's my question to you: is what do you think? Because this seems like this story we're hearing from this commenter seems to focus on Maddie and Kaylee,
Mm-hmm.
because that was the one who, according to this, was rumored to have, flushed something or got rid of
Right.
something. But what about Xana and Ethan? And my theory originally was, I thought that the murders were done in each of those rooms, or that's how they ended up. I don't think they happened in the rooms, but
Right.
each of those sets of victims were done by two different groups of people, and I think that jives with some
Mm-hmm.
merger like this with the gang and the frats, because the fraternity, I mean, Greek Row is like a damn gang. I think that's a
Yeah.
quote. I don't know if it was Ethan that said that or something, talked about like it was like an organized crime type thing, that he
Mm-hmm.
said that. I remember hearing that quote. I bet somebody in the chat would probably know what it was. It's something kind of eerie. It's like a frat. It's like a gang for the rich kids or something like that. But yeah, I'm kind of flipping
Yeah.
through the
I mean,
yeah,
if
Tony brings up a good point. The detectives don't even press her like we were
no,
saying, right? She
right
she
away
was just,
she's told she's not. Um,
you're not in
yeah,
a
you're not a
suspect.
suspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely a victim. Yeah.
Right. Right.
But just a fun fact, you guys, normal facial expressions are held for about 3 seconds. And so think about Dylan when she talking to the cop outside that first time at the trial, where
Mm-hmm.
she's saying her little whatever. Um, she's got those faces for an extended amount of time. That's how you can tell somebody's not being genuine. So
Interesting. Yeah, I'm a firm believer that body language is
yeah,
very, very helpful for stuff like that.
yeah, it's about 3 seconds, and any
Interesting.
longer than that, you're thinking about holding that, so it's not natural.
I
So
see.
anytime
Interesting.
you see somebody acting, you know, and they just keep on,
Mm-hmm.
it's totally fake.
Yeah.
And there was no tears, so
Right.
that's another fact.
Uncle Ted throwing one out here at us. Koberger, he says, excuse me. Bet Koberger drove Kopaka to the house and found out what was happening and bailed.
That's possible. Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah, anything's possible here, but that was interesting. All right. Caius Posthumus. I'm not gonna try that, but happy 250th. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Let's see. Mark's asking if anybody here watches Harsh. I watch Harsh. I don't
Mhm.
watch every video, but I watch
Right.
most of them. I like him. He's not for everybody. Nobody's for everybody, but people might think I'm annoying or whatever. It's fine. It's all good. I'm not going to cry about it. But it's just try not to get that, I guess, worried about every little, thing. And I think he's really good at just kind of taking it in stride and doing, what he does. It's just cool. He's got a good sense of humor.
I do not know how he does so many videos a day,
Yeah, I don't either.
and then live streams. So
Yeah, I think my voice would just die. Yeah, that's just too much.
yeah.
But we were talking about this and Dylan and her ties to this with their boyfriend,
Hmm.
with the Aryan Knights and his dad and her dad and all this stuff. If all that's true, I mean, that is definitely a very strong indication that that's where the muscle was coming from. That's where
Hmm.
the intimidation was coming from, because those guys don't mess around,
Yeah.
and I
Every time
also,
you,
oh, go
I
ahead.
was
I'm
going to
sorry.
say, every time you say definitely, Pete, I think you're saying uh, defin- definitely wrong.
Definitely. Yeah, I
Definitely.
forgot to mention I got my Dinocchio.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I got my Dinocchio shirt on. I haven't worn this in a while, but this is one of those rare. I got the only one, as far
Oh,
as
they
I
took it
know.
down right away?
Yeah, they took it
Oh,
down, but yeah, I like it. With she got the Idaho shirt on and the 911 tattooed on her arm, so she doesn't forget.
I can't believe they took that one down.
I
That's
know.
crazy.
They took them down, all three of them down in one
Wow.
shot. The Frozen Shock Phase, this one, and the Deathany. Yeah, all three.
It was probably a hater that lives at their mom's house.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. They don't tell you. It's just they're gone.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's certainly an issue here too, where I've seen that Dylan really hated them
Hmm.
because of that Halloween hazing. What do you
Yeah.
know about that, Alicia?
I notice in all the pictures, Dylan is like this and everybody's over here. Dylan is always back to somebody, or, making herself a little different, more prominent.
Yeah, that was where'd Alicia go? Okay. Oh, there she is. She's
There you
back.
are.
So yeah, that I thought that was interesting with that whole part of this. Because what were you gonna say?
Oh, you were talking about the Halloween thing. People like that don't like to be picked on.
Mm-hmm.
They do not like for them to think there's anything wrong with them. So I'm not saying that's how she is. I'm just
Right.
saying, knowing off of growing up with someone like that, you don't even mention that they were wrong. It
Ah,
can explode into a huge confrontation. And
wow.
I don't like confrontation. And so a lot of times I'd keep my mouth shut. Um, but that's how they are.
That's interesting that you're
That's how they
saying
can be.
that because there was somebody in a comment stream that I was following that said something related to that, and that's
Hmm.
very interesting that you're
Yeah.
saying that as well. I know you have heard you talk about that person, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so yeah,
My
that's
my
got to be an
bully.
experience. Your bully, yeah, right,
I I thought she was, my best friend or my friend or
right,
really close family. No. After I grew up, started studying psychology and why people treat nice people like shit.
right.
Um, yeah, she was my bully growing up. And
That's
I was
terrible.
conditioned to think that was all normal.
Wow, yeah,
So
that's rough. That is rough,
it's interesting.
but yeah, we've got similar, potentially similar turmoil going on here with if Dylan was playing a game of saying that this happened but it really didn't,
Hmm.
just to get that negative attention and get them involved.
Oh, yeah.
That's messed up, and
That's,
that's like really next level, kind of stuff, because even if she thought it might be a shakedown, I mean, we're not talking about, the Cub Scouts showing up to do this. I mean, this is a, serious matter. And I do think that there was a strong presence of that element there
hmm,
in association with the frat boys, because I think that Ethan and Xana's issue had really nothing to do with the
right.
other. So
Yeah.
that's interesting that it both happened, and we're assumed that there's just like one crime because that's what we were told, right? 4 o'clock and all that nonsense, and that happened with one person, which we know is not even possible with all the autopsy results now. So
Hmm.
that's just absurd that anybody could even believe that, to me.
Yeah.
And then, so it's multiple weapons, multiple people. It's obvious. And I think the way the crimes were carried out, I've been saying this in my videos for
Hmm.
months, is very different. You had two completely different types of crimes in those
Yeah.
rooms, in my opinion. If you were trying to profile for the assailant, there's no way you would think it was one person.
Right.
It would have to be at least two. And then you've got one was, much gorier than the other, and then one seemed like the victims were placed there,
Hmm.
and that at least one of them, and so that doesn't fit with the other, so they're different, and
Yeah.
so that's why I think the frat element could have been involved in getting rid of Ethan and Xana. And I think that it mentions that there's a female there. I mean, we see the female on the
Hmm.
band field when they're running across the band field, those silhouettes. One sure
Yeah.
looks like a female with the way her hair's up. And so I think that makes sense to me because then you've got, a sorority member being involved. So I think it was one of these, everybody had to have a hand in it
Yeah.
so that nobody would go and confess because they'd be admitting to it themselves. And I think that's how they kept everybody even extra quiet, because we know Greek row can be complete silence. I mean, they
Hmm.
just don't talk.
Yeah.
And that's why these dealers like working with them. I know in that band and that book, Among the Bros, that fraternity book, that I've been listening to. That case I think it was in one of the Carolinas, but it was messed up. I mean, it was a $multi-million
Yeah.
operation funneling party favors through there, and then they started servicing other universities because it was going so well and they were making so much money. I mean, this is a major operation, so it's not just one. That's why I don't think it could be just one or the other. I think it's
Right.
a joint venture here because both of them had issues with people
Mm-hmm.
in that house, and it just so happened to be like, hey, we're going to go do this and blah blah blah. Why don't we do them both together and really throw them off and do it that way? I mean, I don't think anything's worth anything's not worth talking about. I think it's
Right.
so feasible, but this scenario of tricking them to think that flushing of the product really happened, if that's true, that's messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And that does have, it makes, seems to make more sense.
Yeah.
And people have said that photo of Quinn down in Boise of him, that was like his alibi picture or whatever video, that was somehow manipulated, and I wouldn't doubt it. Because if he wanted to prove that he wasn't there and he's got some video or something that says it was in Boise, if that was some sort of, manipulated in some way to create that, I mean, anything's possible with
Mm-hmm.
digital stuff. So
Yeah.
it's beyond what I know, but I know it's possible to do. So if that were true, I mean, maybe he was there. People say they hear him in the audio. They hear his name being called in the
Oh
audio.
wow.
I haven't heard it, but I haven't
I
listened
haven't
to
heard
a
that.
lot of it with headphones because
Mm-hmm.
that's what you really need are good headphones to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's interesting because was he really there? I mean, does it make much sense for her to do this without him being there if the whole
Right.
thing was kind of funneling through him?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's you got to think there's got to be a certain, what is the coincidence that Dylan moves in there in August and all of a sudden this happens, 3 months later?
Oh
I mean,
wow.
that's crazy. She
And
moves
Bethany
in.
had only been there for about a month.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, they move in
Yeah.
there and then a couple months goes by and boom. I mean, if they brought all that stuff through there and that wasn't usually the way it happened, that's why I
Mm-hmm.
thought there could be some friction between, Maddie and Kaylee and the rest of them, like, hey, like what the hell's going on here? This is nuts. Or if they
Right.
were getting paid, then maybe they weren't complaining about it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, money
Yeah.
talks. And what I saw in the comments on that video, because I've been getting some great comments from that video, is stuff like, that they were expecting, this kind of thing to happen. And it was just everybody was waiting for their orders, their marching orders.
Oh yeah.
And it's messed up. It really is. I'm kind of looking at the comments here too here. Sorry.
Yeah. I honestly think she saw somebody that when she opens, no, no, no. Whoever was in black, I think it was a police officer or somebody there cleaning.
Yeah. A cop
So
makes the most sense to
yeah.
me.
Yeah. Me
A
too.
cop makes the most sense to me.
And who was Kaylee maybe seeing?
Right. That's definitely
Yeah.
one of the things I had on my list is to talk about
Oh yeah.
the Rosie thing because
Mm-hmm.
Rosie's a big player in this whole situation, I believe, as well. Because I think you would have I think to do something of this magnitude in a town like this, you had to have Greek row behind it. You'd have to have the supplier in mind or in unison, and you'd have to have some law, not all law enforcement, some. You didn't. I'm not saying the whole police force was this
Right.
way, because I did feel Noon's reactions were pretty legit.
Some of them had to have been pawns.
I think that,
Yeah.
he was kind of set up to be the first guy in, and he was overwhelmed. Even if
Yeah,
he
I
kind
just
of knew
watched
what
some of
was
that.
happening, I think it
Yeah.
still messed him up. But see, he was a volunteer fireman,
Oh, okay.
and those guys see a lot of stuff.
Wow.
So I'm not sure, but it seemed very genuine. So I don't think all of them were,
Mm-hmm.
but all it would take would be a couple in a
Right.
small police force like that,
Oh, yeah.
enough to make this, they're in the right places, could make this very much helping,
Mm.
being that third part of that, the frat, the gangs, and the cops, and they were able to make this thing, go away.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they did. And I think the whole thing with Koberger pleading guilty at the end, I honestly think that that's how it was intended to play out.
Yeah. I think
I
he got
think they
backdoored.
intended to do this charade to make it look like it was going to go to trial, but I
Mm-hmm.
think they already had that in the cards. Everything just seemed to
Yeah.
fall in place too easily,
Mm.
with that, early July. What was that? July was like just a year. It was
Yeah.
just the anniversary of it
Yeah.
passed. Was it the second or something like that?
I'm not sure exactly,
And there was
but
something else
yeah.
that happened on that day. What the heck was it? There was a couple of things that happened on that day with that case, and
Oh.
people were like, "Whoa, that's awfully coincidental." But he pled guilty. Or was that the? I was thinking about the information about the, um, from the from the forensic expert,
Mm.
but I don't think that was it.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, yeah, I do think that was all predetermined, and then no trial, so nobody had to look foolish in front of the whole world, because it would have come out. The whole thing would have come out. There's no way it wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
have, with all the experts and everything. I mean, it would have been a total train wreck. The whole world would have seen what they did. And so the only way to cover that up was to convince him that his only alternative was to plead guilty, because they were going to find him guilty anyway, and he was going to get put in front of a firing squad.
Yeah.
And he
And if
decided he wanted to live instead of die.
and if he was already looking into the corruption going on, I
Hmm.
mean, they were like, nope.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it in such a neat package for them, especially with the whole no ability to, appeal it, unless he's got this September deadline coming up, and I don't know exactly which appeal that is, but it's like the last one he's got available, unless it was like the, Innocence Project took it
Mm-hmm.
up and somehow was able to, resurrect it and do something for him. I don't know.
What blows my mind though is when people do get to, like, he doesn't get a retrial, but it's all the same people. Like when you do a retrial, you're going to get the same result. You got the same judge, same
Right.
prosecution, same everything.
I know. It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't.
It's like playing a game of cards, and you got the same cards in the
Yeah, the
same
West Memphis
place.
Three
You're
was
gonna.
the same way. They had to keep going in front of that same judge.
It's ridiculous. I
And
mean,
then
that makes no sense
finally
to
he
me.
was running for office. So then they got him out of there. So I think that's how it played out. And then they were able to do that, Alfred plea and get out of there. But yeah, it
It's
was the
like a
same
kid
thing.
asking, "Hey, mom, can I have a cookie?" No. Dad, can I have a cookie? No. Ask your mom. Mom, can I have a cookie?
Right.
No. And it's the same people hearing the same thing.
Right.
You're going to get the same result.
Right. Now I'm getting flashbacks of my kids. So don't do that. Yeah, my
It's
son was
just
good for
insane.
that.
It's insanity.
Repeating it. Like if he says it 150 times, I'm gonna finally say yes. That's how he
That's
was.
the definition of insanity, like doing
Right.
something over and over and over and expecting a different result.
Right.
But you don't change anything. That is insane. You should automatically get a different judge, prosecution
Right.
and an attorney if you want one.
Right. Got a good comment here from, or an
I'll
interesting
be right
comment
back.
here. It's good, interesting. It makes you think. Um, Caius again posting. I'm not saying that Chief Fry is a Mason, but he's definitely in the Fraternal Order of the Police, which are pseudo Masons in the way that they operate. You're right. You're right. Those are all fraternal organizations. Um, the Masons really were the first ones because that was like back in like Revolutionary War times. So the Masons were the first ones that I'm aware of. I mean, maybe there were others, but the Masons kind of set that framework because a Mason was the one that started a fraternity. And I'm sure the police was kind of an offshoot of it as well. So they're all modeled off of that. So they would be kind of similar. Now, I've mentioned before on here, I was a Freemason. I was a Master Mason. I only did it for a few years. It was interesting. I only went to the third degree. I wasn't into the whole rest of it. And basically, all we did was volunteer our time. I spent most of my time there picking up trash on the road for Adopt a Highway and doing all that kind of stuff. And I used to help out with the Passion Play as a stagehand. And we had meetings once a week, but it was like hanging out, eating, ham and beans with the guys, and they would have their ritual that would go on upstairs. Their the ritual part of it upstairs afterward, and everybody would go and watch or participate, and it was interesting, but nothing bad about it at all, nothing. And so I put this up here because when I see that stuff, I always try to at least put it in perspective. I know that there were more nefarious Masons in history. That would be the Europeans, not here. The Europeans, they drink at their meetings, but they don't do that here. And they come from the Knights Templar, who was brutal. So all of that stuff kind of goes in line with that. But that's an interesting comment. That's because I've heard it before. I've heard it before. Um, Here, Uncle Ted says the governor of Idaho declared a state of emergency. They were making so many pills. Yeah, I wouldn't
Oh,
doubt it. Yeah, they've been finding these pill presses at these fraternity houses. And yeah, thanks for the reminder, Lafayette guy. Everything is alleged. Everything. So yeah, I don't. It's nothing would surprise me. Nothing would surprise me in this case. Here, oh wow, Uncle Ted is very popular in the chat here. They sit on one of the most valuable drug pipelines in America, Salt Lake City. So yeah, very very big market up there. So good stuff. All right, I like to get into the chat. I just don't want to spend too much time in it. But you guys are great. I'm happy to see this many people here. So that's really
all
cool.
right. Yeah.
All right, so I want to do a member giveaway here, Alicia. I'd like to do
Yay.
that.
Yeah.
It's they give us 5 free memberships each time. So hang on, let me mute myself. There we go. uh, and so they give us 5 of these to do a month. So now that we're in a new month, I could do some membership gifting here. Let me get that up on the. Okay, here it goes. So good luck. We'll see who wins. Totally random. All right, where is it?
And Kawanda 9102 sent 5 gift memberships earlier.
Oh, cool. Thank you very
So
much.
X Quan, Long Beach, Hippie, The Kids, SB, LLAO. I'm not sure they're okay, but Kim Mormon and Teresa's already had one. There you go.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. So congrats to the winners there of the free memberships. That's
There's that
cool.
name for you again.
Yeah, that Caius. Yes, for sure. That's an interesting name. I meant to put this up earlier, guys, but this is Alicia's channel. I know Alicia's got some transitions going on here, but she's got some really good content on there. So go check it out. She mentioned that video that she posted asking for, for your advice or your opinion. And so go give it a watch and drop her a comment and let her know about what your thoughts are. Because I think she's good at what she does. And it sucks
Thanks.
when you're kind of in one of those ruts. YouTube could be brutal
Mm-hmm.
because I've been through them too. And it sucks.
I was doing a variety, and YouTube suggest, the new thing is to stick to one topic, and that didn't help.
Mm-hmm.
And my mind is going all over the place. So,
Right. I know. When I first started doing this channel, I had a really hard time thinking, wow, we're just going to talk about this. Because
mhm.
anytime I did anything else, it
Yeah.
bombed in the viewership. And it's like, you like to just do them. Like I do Serial Killer Story Hour just because I like it. And it doesn't get a lot of
Mhm.
views. But I like talking about serial killers. So we do
Right.
it. And so but I'm in a different situation. I'm retired. It's a different ball game for me now. So I'm not doing this to like feed myself. So
Right.
it's not a, a concern like that for me. So I just do it because I enjoy it. And, it brings in a little bit of money.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice because you're compensated for your time. Because I'm out
Yeah.
here, working usually
It
from
takes
8
a while, you
o'clock
guys.
till 9, 10
Oh,
o'clock at
yeah.
night. Like pretty much, here I go, saying pretty much. It's hard not to say it though. Now that when I hear it, I'm like, oh, pretty much. No. But to end that stuff about we were talking about with Dylan and this whole
Mm-hmm.
thing is I do think that hazing incident where there's that video, it's Maddie's last TikTok video, as a matter of fact, of them like doing some weird, like they're up in Dylan's face and she's
Oh,
got
yeah.
this really weird look on her face. And she's like really in distress.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, I mean, if somebody had that, like her, almost like that narcissistic kind of personality, um, that could be really frightening,
Yeah.
having them, in that sort of emotional distress. And I could see something like that being like, you
Mm-hmm.
know what? I'm gonna get them, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna get them back, that type of thing. I mean, how many times have you seen that in a movie? You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
Somebody does something to somebody else, they get back at them. Those are my
Jealousy
favorite
can be a
ones.
very strong
The
emotion.
retribution type stories, like those kind of
Mm-hmm.
stories to me are like The Revenant, like that kind of stuff. That to me, that's what I like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's certainly worth bringing up. And I also saw in the comments, I was not aware of this, but somebody said that Dylan was having some issues with her sorority there, and I've heard she was a
Oh.
Pi Phi, but yet in other places I see she wasn't. So I'm not really sure what to make of that.
Hmm.
And also, if she was having some issues with it, maybe she was on some sort of, for some sort of like legal issue. I don't know what could have caused her to be, maybe grades. I don't know what it could have been,
Mm-hmm.
but she was in some sort of dilemma with them. So maybe that's why they were only there for a half hour that night on Friday. Maybe they got there and they were told like, you're not welcome here.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Kaylee wasn't even a member of her sorority at the time that they were there.
Yeah.
So if she was her plus one and she was kind of on the outs with them, that would kind of make sense
That would make sense.
there was some sort of like drama that happened there. And
Yeah.
that would have been like the perfect storm, right? I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
set off, if she did this, this could have been a plan that was hatched that got way out of hand really fast. Because if she started this thing with telling the gang that this happened at the house and it didn't, to get them upset, to
Mm-hmm.
do what happened, and then at the same time this incident happens. Now, this would only be, 2 days before it, but nonetheless, you've got an incident happening involving sorority, girls from different sororities. That's going to be like a whole Greek road type, everybody's going to know about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there had been that blow up. I know Carl Thomas has brought this up before. There was a blow up in October 22 or 22nd of 22. Um, there was an incident at Greek Row with the sororities, like a fight, like a massive fight,
Mm-hmm.
and the cops were called out there. It's in their report, but they were out there, and so there could have been a lot of tension brewing here for
Oh
whatever
yeah.
reason. Maybe word getting out, maybe that rumor getting out there that happened, and now all this heat was going to be brought on and all this stuff. Who knows? And that could have been
Yeah.
simmering at the surface.
And we're talking about younger adults who might have been doing party favors, steroids, drinking.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on
Steroids were
top
very
of,
popular with in that among the bros.
mm-hmm.
That was very commonly sold through that same, way they were getting all the other stuff, is because there's a lot of athletes, there's a lot of dudes like bodybuilding and all that stuff, and they were using that stuff like crazy. You mix that with alcohol and something like the M word, I mean, or the C
Mm-hmm.
word, the white powder, then
Yeah.
that kind of stuff could happen, especially somebody's doing that all the time and getting all amped up and getting called out that night if that happened. Because I
Yeah.
have my doubts about that fight with Loach at Sigma Chi. I don't know if it actually happened or not, because
Mm-hmm.
nobody seems to mention it. I mean, the cops don't mention it when they talk to the frat boys. I don't hear it in any of the discussions, but then it trickles in other areas, like
Mm-hmm.
Xana's mom's interview, and
Yeah.
where she said that, that she didn't talk to her, but she heard that, her ex-husband had talked to her. So, but did he mean talk to her or text to her?
Right.
That's a question too, because there were texts that Saturday at 11:30 between them.
Mm-hmm.
So is that what was being said? Is, oh, we're at home eating pizza, even though they were still at Sigma Chi,
Yeah.
according to Pete Elgoriaga, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So Pete's interview that recently was dropped on Connor's channel. I mean, shout out to Connor, man, for doing all what he does for this case. But
Mm-hmm.
he dropped that video of Pete Elgoriaga talking to the Idaho State Police, and that's a pretty weird interview. He says some really weird stuff, and I know that you're a big scholar of the serial killer yourself, but this dude, I mean, he checks some boxes. It's weird. I mean, he talks to the police, and to me, he's asking a lot of questions, like talking about DNA and, the urgency of the tests and all this stuff. And to me, I'm like, most people would want to get the hell out of there, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even if you're not guilty or anything, you just want to, who wants to sit there and talk to the cops, right?
Right.
Get the hell out of there. I don't want to get implicated in anything. But yet he's carrying on, and you get those guys that are really super obsessed with the police, like
Mm-hmm.
we've heard Koberger was when he was young,
Mm-hmm.
and then he became more interested in getting into the military. At some point that changed, but what have you. And so I just wonder, if he was you know, acting like sometimes these serial killers act. I'm not saying he was a serial killer. I'm just
Right.
saying he's showing signs of those types of behaviors about obsessing about the cops. And then he asks the cop that's interviewing him or the detective, is the I've been hearing about this rumor that Kaylee had her tongue cut out.
Yeah.
And then the cop, you could hear the audio's going. It's not redacted because you could hear like the room noise, so that the recording's still going on, and there's a pause. And if I was just like you were talking about body language earlier, Alicia,
Hmm.
is I could see it just in my mind's eye of this conversation happening because all you can hear is the audio, and you hear, or I could see the cop nodding, like, yeah. And then the cop changes the subject into a different
Of
question.
course.
You could also see him shake his head like no,
Hmm.
but in my opinion, if he was shaking his head no, he would have said no.
Right.
But I think because he knew his body cam was on, he just nodded his head like yes, because there's another telltale sign of gangland stuff.
Yeah.
Taking the tongue out, don't talk.
Yeah.
The mafia has been doing that for forever. Not so much the tongue, but maybe a rat shoved in the mouth. The same thing, right? So these are gangland type tactics.
Hmm.
And then you have the throat slit after death, which is definitely gangland type stuff. And I've been hearing about, because some of these autopsy notes and things have been coming out, that Kaylee had a J-shaped incision on her
Hmm.
forehead. And if that were the case, is that, an indication of somebody in the Aryan organization? So,
Is that somebody's initial?
mm-hmm. So that's
Was
pretty
it done there
messed
on
up.
purpose or not, too?
True Crime
So,
Design, True Crime Design dropped a comment yesterday.
oh,
I
okay.
think it was just a couple days ago. I really like her content. I love her videos. She's great to watch if you ever want to deep dive on some Delphi.
Oh, yeah.
That's the girl. And her videos about the mayor are epic. So if
Oh,
you're
awesome.
interested in Delphi and
I
you
know a
think
lot
that
about that
mayor
one.
is suspicious, go
There's a
check
lot of
out True
suspicious
Crime
things
Design.
in
I know.
that area, you guys. If, yeah.
It's terrible. Yeah. I
Hmm.
mean, it's like the Idaho 4 times 2. It's really
Oh, yeah.
wild. But
Oh, yeah. It's,
getting back to Idaho 4, I mean, it's definitely, um, it makes you wonder, with
yeah.
this is could that have been in play? I don't know. I don't know.
That's true.
So I did want to mention I've got a wild serial killer story hour coming on Tuesday. That's July 7th at 7 p.m. Now, check it out. 777. Okay, so if you're going to watch a serial killer story hour, you might want to come check this one out on 777 with the San Francisco witch killers, Susan and Michael Bear Collins. Are you familiar with this one at all,
I'm
Alicia?
not. I'm not, but I would like for you to say that again faster.
You want me to say that again?
7 at 7 on 7. And this, yeah, San Francisco. Say it all real fast.
Tuesday, July 7th at 7 p.m.,
7
777
7.
San Francisco Witch Killers.
Awesome. Good job.
So, yeah, it's a crazy story from the early 1980s. It tells the tale of substances are bad. They have bad effects on people. And when you take some crazy woman and the substances and this very
Mix them all
strange
together.
man that wants to be called Bear
Oh,
and the occult and witches. I mean, they are literally hunting witches, okay?
that's
That's
funny.
their jam, is they are witch hunters. like old school. I actually wrote a short story about witch killers after I learned about these guys because we did a podcast on them and we were dying. I mean, this story, it's grim, but it's awfully funny at the same time. So it's a treat. So don't miss Tuesday, 777 at 7 p.m. The San Francisco Witch Killers. It's going to be amazing. Just an hour, serial killer story hour.
Run,
That's
witches,
all it is.
run.
All right. So I did want to talk about, let me check the time here. Okay. We got 20 minutes left. Jeez. Time goes by so fast.
It does.
I did want to talk about Nicholas Mowich because I've heard Pavarotti talk about this guy. I've heard True Crime Design talk about this guy. And I think somebody else, I don't recall, but I've
His name
heard
keeps
the
coming
name.
up.
Yeah, and it
Mhm.
just keeps coming up. And I know what Pavarotti's stance on this whole thing is. And so I was just like, I don't know if I really want to get all into that side of it. Now, of course, as more and more information keeps coming out, you keep learning more. And it's like, wait a minute, really, this is interesting to say the
Mhm.
least. And so I think we all need to be open minded and go with, information as it comes out. I had somebody in my comments saying something about, you keep changing your mind. I'm like, I know I'm not changing my mind. Stuff I've been talking about for years, but little twists and turns in it. Yeah, sure, because I'm not going to be an idiot and ignore something that's
Yeah.
come out that completely debunks what we think about something. I mean, that's just stupid. So I try
Well,
to,
eh, you're not you're not stating facts. You're stating theories and opinions, so those can change.
yeah, that is very true. That is very true. So for anybody that doesn't know who this guy is, he was 39 years old. He was from Washington, but he did spend time in Idaho. He got arrested in Idaho, and I don't remember what it was for. Some type of assault, maybe. I don't remember. But he only got 3 years, but he did the 3 years. Apparently, got to know some people in the AK organization. And so I had several people in the comments. One guy said he crossed paths with Mowich over there in Washington, and he said he was a bad dude and he hung out with some really bad people. So that that's messed up. And he was a user. I'm not sure of what. Probably the M word, but I'm not sure. And so he was involved in that whole scene, and that's where the tie is potentially with the 1122 house
Okay.
because people that he was associated with, like we hear about this Tyson Farley, that's another one that
Mhm.
Pav has talked about. Um, Tyson Farley, apparently he's doing time right now for a parole violation. And so he's inside right now, but he got picked up for a big trafficking charge and then was on probation and he did it again. So
Oh
they
wow.
caught him and he's in prison. But supposedly from, allegedly what I hear is he was, doing some talking. And so that's how I guess the Mowich name got dropped into the consciousness is from him or something related to that. Like I said, I've kind of stayed away from that side of this. But as this becomes more of an issue, I really need to know a little bit more.
Mhm.
So he ends up in Lewiston, which is like a half hour south of Idaho. That's where he was living. He had like a regular job. He was doing good. He got off the substances, according to his mother. And then about a week before the crimes, he got back on it again. And then he disappeared on the 19th, I think it was. It was the Thursday, I think, before the crimes.
Oh wow.
Um, and then he disappeared. And then 2 days after the crimes, I think it was the 15th, he's found like wandering on this road, like walking through the road. And he's got no shirt on. He's all cut up, like bad, like mortally wounded, really cut bad, staggering around, and said he was in a car accident. His car is found not that far away and it's some open field. It's like really weird. But his injuries are way beyond a car accident and don't jive with the car accident. And a
Mm-hmm.
nurse, because he gets it to the hospital. So the hospital, the ambulance comes, takes him to the hospital, and then at the hospital they airlift him to Spokane, and he dies in Spokane. He, but along this journey, he was telling them that it was from a car accident, and the nurse is like, "No," and she calls the FBI. I mean,
Oh
hell on
wow.
her for doing that's awesome, because she was smart and she called the FBI, and then that's how the FBI got involved in the whole situation for with him. So that news broadcast that we heard about, we talked about this in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, with 4 dead, 1 wounded. I
Yep.
mean, could it be that this guy was the 5th one? I mean, maybe somebody gave him a ride to the hospital, right? Maybe he was cut up real bad, and one of those early people that got there said, "Dude, I'll take you to the hospital." And he's like, all right, I'll give him some money or whatever, take you to the hospital. But then once they got on the road, Mowich is like, "I ain't going to the damn hospital. Take me to Lewiston." And so maybe he drove him back down to Lewiston. I don't know. I mean, somehow or another, he got in a car that was his and crashed it into this field.
Wow.
So that's a lot to take in. But I mean, what do you make of that? Could
What
that
kind of
have
car did
anything
he
to do
have?
with this?
Do you know?
I'm sorry.
What kind of car was it? Do you know?
I don't remember.
I
I
have to
don't
look that up.
remember.
Let's see if I can find out.
Yeah, there's some stuff on him. The True Crime Design has a couple of videos
Okay.
about him. That'd be a good place to start. But there's others, I'm sure. Um, but and there's Pav. If
Yeah.
I know not everybody likes him, but um, he's got some stuff on it too. And I have heard it in other places. But
I'm just wondering, did he escape the attack in his car? Did he,
that's what I'm. Yeah,
and
that's
then
very
by the time
possible
he
too.
got as far as he did, he had bled out enough to,
That's very possible that he left on his own accord
he
because
escaped. Yeah.
another thing about Mao, which I forgot to mention this, his talk about irony here. So that's another reason why I think he could have been there. His son, Mawich's son, um, not by the name of Mawich, Schneider. I can't remember Jack. I think Jack Schneider is what his name was
Okay.
or is.
Mm.
He lived on Queen Road
Oh,
in the Queen Apartments, there where Showalter lived.
really?
Yeah. So
He
he
could have
had,
easily been, yeah,
or
Mowich
went there
easily
to
can,
hide out, maybe, who knows? But he had a white Elantra, supposedly.
of course.
Yeah. Everybody, I told you, when you move to Moscow, you just get a free car. They give you an Elantra.
Look under your chair.
Yeah. There you
You get
go.
a free car.
Yeah, you get a free car. You get a free. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's in exchange for being in the cesspool of the world. My God. But anyway, I mean, isn't that an interesting, like, could that have been, could he have been there? Could he have been part of that element from, the drug or the
Mm-hmm.
gangs?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And he could have easily been visiting his son and went over there to make a quick stop.
Yeah. Or could have said, "Oh yeah, I'll get it. Give me a chance to go visit my son. I'll
Mm-hmm.
go up there. I'll do knockout." Yeah, that's very
Yeah.
possible that he could have been at the son's apartment and then just walked over there.
Yeah.
And then maybe after, if he was involved and he was wounded and nobody wanted him with him because he was bleeding all over the damn place. There's that blood on the outside of the whites too. I don't know what the deal is with that, but that looks like some sort of altercation happened there and somebody was bleeding, like kind of like waist level. or like chest or lower abdomen level in that area. There was all red all over the side of the whites.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw that, and it was Lana or somebody, Jules, I can't recall. But I was like, man, that's messed up. I mean, all these things like we're finding out. It's like, man, all this stuff is finally getting let out, and it's really
It's starting
amazing.
to paint a better picture than what we've been told.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think the important takeaway is just because somebody's super, into, let's say, the frat side of it or super into the gangland side of it, doesn't mean that there can't be, because, the most likely is that there was some sort of joint effort,
Hmm.
like we need to get this taken care of and we're going to do it this way. And these are the people we need to help and grease the wheel with the green stuff because that's what makes the world go round. And unfortunately, a lot of this case boils down to just that. And it sucks because it shouldn't be, but it is.
Hmm.
It shouldn't be. So, all right. Well, I want to get some comments in here. I know that you guys have been great, and we have done best I can to get the comments up here. Let me. Cool. All right. So, Crime Tech Explorer says he thinks that they would um, go harder on the ones that fought back. Yeah, I mean that may be why Xana was covered in wounds, right? 67 wounds. I do think that a female or females attacked her. I think that might be the reason why the wounds on Xana aren't quite so dramatic and like gouges like you saw upstairs with Kaylee and Maddie. That's why I'm saying these are done by two different groups. This is not
Hmm.
the same. This is different, totally different. I know serial killers. I keep saying serial killers because I don't. This is a mass murder, but I'm just saying killers in general. That they don't. They'll mix it up, but not like this. This is just too disjointed. This just doesn't. It
If you
doesn't
only have
really
that little bit of time and you have 4 targets, you're
exactly
going to go in. I mean, you don't have time to switch weapons and, uh,
right.
yeah,
Yeah, we're supposed to believe he had a
chase people
backpack
through the
on and he's
house.
changing weapons. He's naked,
Yeah.
according to the prosecution,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is just
Yeah. Yeah.
ridiculous. Trace says she's got the blood pictures from the whites. She's going to send them, maybe. Awesome. Thanks, Trace. I'm going through. Trace asked, can we get a FOIA on Mowich? Yeah, I'm sure you could. I'm not sure what, though, because he's a private citizen. So, I mean, I don't know
That's
if you
true.
could get anything personal about him. I'm not sure what you would FOIA. I've never done a FOIA. I know what they are, but I've personally never done one. But, um, but I don't know. Good question, though. Big Amish, what's up, man? Very interesting, Pete. You are on to something here, so that's cool. I've had a
Hmm.
lot of people think that this new stuff, and again, I don't want to take all the credit for this. This is somebody that lived in Moscow that had this theory. I've just been kind of joining up things, like it's like putting a puzzle together. I'm terrible at putting puzzle together. You would rather put a puzzle together with somebody who can't see than me, all right? Because I'm just awful at it. But if I was doing a puzzle and was able to get some pieces together, then I would be like, oh, they start fitting together much easier, right? So that's kind of what I think we're running into here. And I think that's awesome if that's the case. So GT says, I know nurses reported Mowich to the FBI. Yes, he did. And that's amazing. That's why nurses are awesome. Nurses are awesome. They know what's up. Big Amish Media is asking who has the best info on Mowich. The the two sources that I would consider is Pavarotti and True Crime Design. Now, I'm not a watcher of Pavarotti stuff, but I really like True Crime Design. I would suggest starting there. And then if you want more, I would definitely say Pavarotti's probably got the most stuff on this. Because what I have seen of him, I know he's talked about it. So, okay, that's what I was thinking. It was a truck. Mark
Okay.
Mark says Mowitch's pickup was a 2006 GMC Sierra Blue. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate that. Mark
Just
B.
wondering if
I think I've seen Mark B and others. Mark B a famous person here? I don't know. A YouTube famous person? I think I've seen your name, Mark. I'm not sure if it's just on my channel or if I've seen you on others. But anyway, I just the name jumped at me as I should remember that name. Um, the Big Amish is saying, Pete, you're on it. He needed to get out of there. He had a driver. They put him in the car and made him hit the wall. Accelerator fixed, then removed before police arrived. Interesting. Wow. I mean, anybody that's read books like true accounts, I'm not talking about fictional stories, true accounts of what happens in gangs.
hmm
I mean, it is serious business, man. I mean, these people don't play. So, anybody that's in that life, I mean, it's unfortunate, but there's only two ways it's going to end. You know, you in a cardboard box, or you're going into a 6x9 cell. I mean, it's one or the other, and maybe both if you end up getting the death penalty like in Idaho. So I don't know. It's crazy. It is really crazy. I had a question too, that about the first responders. Like, what my question is, if this call came in about a girl that was passed out,
hmm
why didn't an ambulance show up
That's a very
first?
good
Like,
question.
isn't that normally what happens? Like, that's the course of action, is
hmm
the EMTs show up and then they come rushing in, and if they saw a bunch of people stabbed up, they'd be like marching back out of the house and calling the damn cops. I mean, isn't that normally what happens? I don't
hmm
know. Moscow, I don't know, what to make of it.
And usually, when they enter a house and see someone laying on the floor, they immediately clear the house. And they didn't do that. That was that was a little bit later when somebody else showed up and he said, "Has the house been cleared?" No. Okay. And then they go in and start clearing the house.
Right.
So they didn't do anything, um, allegedly correctly.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So they didn't act like there was a perp in the, yeah. They didn't act like, I'm not even sure how the reaction is. It's
Yeah,
just
I
very
think they thought
strange.
the case was solved because they thought Ethan was a self-aside.
That's true
So
too.
if they thought it was a murder self-aside type situation, and that's what Nunes was alluding to when he was talking on the body cam, then
It's ridiculous.
that would have made him not want to go rush around searching the house because the case is solved right in front of him. But obviously he was wrong, and that's what Christopher Whitcomb brings up in Broken Plea, is could that have totally started this case going sideways? Because then that may be why there was the conflicting alerts going out, the vandal alerts of we're on lockdown, we're not, we are, because I think at first they thought it was fine because they thought the case was solved right in front of their face. And then all of a sudden there's there's nobody there, and that's the case has been figured out. It just makes me think that that may be very possible how that all happened. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. Let's see. Yeah, Leah says he was crazy if that's what he thought. Yeah, I know. It seems wild, that they would have gotten in there and
Just
thought
the
that.
fact that he let Hunter lead him around and then
Mm-hmm.
let Hunter stand the
Mm-hmm.
whole time like this. I've
Yeah.
only seen Chris Watts do that. And
Yeah, that's right. And he
when you're
threw that
stressed,
knife
you
on the
start getting
table. He didn't even
warm.
just set it down. He like threw the knife on the table. Like that would have made me jump and been like, man, you need to get him the hell out of here. Put him in cuffs or
Yeah,
put
and
him in the back of my car.
that should have made some kind of metal sound as well, which should have
Yeah.
alerted him. Like,
Yeah. I think he does look when that happens.
yeah, oh
I think
yeah, he double
Warner looked.
takes, but that's after Hunter says, "Well, I had that knife."
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, you're right. He immediately should have been taken out of there. So.
Yeah.
Well, we are at that hour and a half mark, 90
Oh, all right.
minutes just flying by. But I appreciate all you guys that were here tonight or today with us. And it's great to have you guys on doing these lives and trying to get everybody that we can involved in it all. It's not, it's one of those things where you try to, but, can't anyway cover it all. But there's been a lot of you in the chat. And I've been trying my best to get as many of you up on that. So with that, I will be live on Tuesday at 7 Central for Serial Killer Story Hour. Next Saturday, pretty much at 4 p.m. I haven't figured out what I'm doing yet, but it'd probably be at least True Crime Live, maybe a mix of some other cases. But Idaho 4 has been so hot with you guys wanting to hear it that probably just stick with that for a while. So with that, good luck to you, Alicia,
All
and
right,
your
thanks.
new endeavors there. And you're always a welcome guest here. You're just a lot of
Sounds
fun to
good.
have on. And all right, guys. Well, we'll see
Bye,
you
guys.
next time. Take it easy.